Hey guys, I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 23 of Careers Are Weird. Careers Are Weird, fam. What's up? How's work? How's life? How's your career? Man, like the weather got so good in Dubai, and it's like work suddenly got busy for me. Hitting Q4 targets or just whatever. But have no fear, busy or not. This podcast will be coming out every single Wednesday wherever you listen to your podcast because you guys, you're the best supporters ever, and doing this is like one of my favorite things every week. This pod is epic because it lets me reconnect with old friends from high school and uni. And today I get to have a fun catch up with my friend Bianca from my semester abroad exchange program. Some of you guys know this, but I did a semester at IESEG in Lille in France. That's also where I met Quentin from episode 21. And I'm so lucky I got to meet so many amazing people there. And today we get to talk about Bianca's weird career and, well, I guess everything career wise since we finished that semester of uni. Bianca, hey, how are you? Where are you?
Hi, Andrea. So I'm based in London. So it's very gloomy here today. I mean, as always, most of the time. So definitely not in nice sunny weather in London. Obviously, we've got autumn as well. So it's pretty much rainy. But yeah, I'm here in London. I think 3 hours time difference.
Yeah, just 3 hours. Well, that's really good. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's Sunday, so a little bit of, chill time.
Love that. And I appreciate you giving your chill time to talk about your career, which is basically what you will have to go back to tomorrow. So
Yes.
let's talk about it. Well, I guess the easiest way to jump in is what do you do for work?
So I am a digital marketing manager. That's like my title. But I'm focusing on emails. So that's basically my day-to-day job is looking after email communication. So all the email marketing. So that's basically what I'm doing.
Okay. So break down a day in the life of this role for me then because otherwise I'm just going to think okay, she sends emails all day long, which I'm sure you don't do. So you get into the office, like, what's a day in the life?
So it really depends on the day, obviously. But we have some like let's say standard campaigns that we send every month. So that would be like any email newsletters, any recurring campaigns that we have. So that would be something that I log in on Monday morning. I will look at the calendar. I was like, okay, this week we have this newsletter. Next week we have that one. So obviously, like we need to prepare for it. We need to like look for the content. Maybe look at some trends, like what kind of topic is good for our audience. Like this month, anything like specific they're excited about or any worries. So that would be like, something that you can plan in advance. And that's like any marketing campaigns that we know about like well in advance. So obviously you can like prep for them. And then you have all the things that really depend on what's going on in industry. So you might need to like send some unexpected comms. So that would be working very closely with like some deadlines that you didn't know about. So I would say that this role it's very like deadline driven, if I could say that. So
Mm,
you know
yeah.
about like newsletter going out, but then you might need to like send some comms today, like literally in 3 hours. So you need to like quickly create a campaign, send an email, done. So that's something you
Mm.
always need some like window of time just in case something like this will just pop up.
And what industry are you in?
Dentistry.
Okay. No, I'm curious because you said it's like there's a part of it that's very industry driven. And it's like, okay, so in your specific industry now, dentistry, and I find that so fascinating because when I went to your LinkedIn, I was like, dentistry needs email marketing. I need to know more. So what sort of, I guess, email campaigns would have like a quick 3 hour turnaround in dentistry? What do you mean?
So imagine that government makes a decision and it will literally influence what you're doing. Or it might be starting from like pay rise. That's obviously really exciting that you need to like take some actions, but also like health and safety. So there might be like a change, or maybe they're using like a specific product that there is something wrong with it. I don't know. There's like a batch of medicines, and they discovered that this like has a wrong label, for instance. So you need to quickly let them know, like, if we consider it as like a short comms campaign. It might not be like, a typical marketing you think about, but it's something that, they need to know. So that's like a very quick comms. So you would be really surprised how big the industry is. I would recommend going to like dental conferences because you would be like surprised by the amount of stuff they are selling and just how many things they need just to do their job as well. So obviously there are some like products that you can promote, but mainly it's like we support the like day-to-day job.
That's so interesting because now that you say, first of all, dental conference, I feel like that's the sort of thing I've only really heard of like in a movie, like, oh yeah, we're going to the dental conference. And then now that you say products, I'm like, okay, toothpaste. Well, as you were talking, I'm like, okay, toothpaste, toothbrush, floss, I guess braces if we're going orthodontics. And I'm just like, what else? But that's so interesting. You get to do marketing for that. That's a hard one.
Yes, well, you mentioned toothpaste. Obviously, that's more like to consumers, right? They might recommend it, but they need like dental instruments, all those scary things that they will use for like drilling as well. So you might be working
Ah.
for a company that only sells that, and you would do like marketing for dentists, just, promoting like dental chairs and dental instruments. It's not really the fancy marketing. Some people work for like retail, and we're like, sending nice emails about the clothes and stuff. And this is here like we do some, well, very different type of marketing as well. So
Yeah, this is more like B2B marketing.
yeah,
In my head, it feels more B2B. Okay, so marketing for dentists and dentist equipment and stuff. Just pause there and just
yeah.
tell me, is this what you thought you'd be doing 7 years ago when we were studying undergrad?
No, definitely not. But I think the reason why I ended up in dentistry. So after I did my undergrad, I did a very short internship helping on like social media. I think back in the days was like Facebook, Instagram only. I think like the whole Meta business we just like started. I think it was 2016.
Okay, first of all, don't say back in the day when you're talking about our age. No, 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 no,
I know,
no. We're like, what, 27, 28? You're not allowed to say back in the day. No way.
I know. It makes me feel so old, but the industry is changing so fast. Like TikTok didn't exist. Yeah, I wrote like
That's
thesis in undergrad
crazy.
about like YouTubers and like influencers on Instagram. They were not even regulated. You were like sending stuff with no like sponsored by. So everything was allowed. So that's what I did like first, help like with social media for a company who did aligners. It was like a startup in Poland. So obviously, again, it was like, do you need to like advertise aligners? Like, it's
Like panty liners for women?
and sorry, aligners is like when you have braces, you can have like Invisalign as well.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
this
Sorry.
one.
Okay, cool.
Everyone says Invisalign, but
Oh.
obviously that's the brand and you have competitors. So I used to work for one
Mm.
of like the competitors. So I think that's how it was like my first impression of like of being faced with like, marketing and dentistry.
Amazing. So how long was that internship that you did with social media?
It was it was only 3 months.
Okay.
So it was literally like during I think it was the last year of my undergrad, something like that. So it was just a very short one. Like we had to do it and I happened to like find this startup. So it was different. I mean exciting. But obviously when you study marketing you always think like retail or I don't know, like food and stuff, and then you're like, oh, it's like so much more than that as well.
Yeah. I think especially studying marketing in a country like France, in my head, especially now Emily in Paris, of course, it's like LVMH. I'm just like, yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, but you went on to dentistry. That's very cool. So 3 month internship, social media for an aligner company. What did you do next for work? Did you go into something full time?
So then I had a gap year. So basically, we had that exchange in France. I came back to Poland. I finished my undergrad, which was business and management. And I really wanted to study abroad. So that was like, you know, sort of a motivation for me. I'm not sure if it was, I should blame the exchange for it, but I really wanted to study in English and basically abroad to have more of that experience, even though I knew it's going to be different when it's not an exchange because you don't have like the same experience. It's more serious, I would say. I really, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. No,
Uh,
like that semester is like the greatest semester of my life. And was it educational? Not,
yeah, it
not.
was.
It was good. It
It
was good.
was educational in the culture experience thing, sort of.
Exactly. Look at us now, a
So
Jamaican and a
soft
Polish
skills,
person.
you know,
Yeah.
on your CV it would be under like soft skills,
Yeah,
basically.
perfect. So you had the motivation to study more, travel more, and study in English abroad. Where'd you end up studying then?
So I wanted to study in France. Okay, so my choice A was France, and I wanted to study in business school, or there was like also university in Paris, and like French embassy in Poland, they had scholarships for Polish people to study abroad. Well, in France, obviously. It was not a lot of like places available, but I was like, I'll give it a go. And my choice B was England because obviously English, and they also has or they used to have like a student loan also for EU students. So that was like opportunity for me just to like take student loan from the government and basically afford to studying here because obviously you need to pay the rent and stuff. So I applied to France and England. Unfortunately, I didn't get scholarship in France, so I got a place, but I couldn't pay the amount of money they were asking for.
Yeah.
So I went with the choice B, and that was luxury marketing. So again, it sounds very fancy,
Yeah.
and it was in Oxford. Disclaimer: Oxford Brookes, not Oxford University. There are two universities in Oxford. However, a lot of people take advantage of saying, "Oh, I studied in Oxford, not at Oxford." So,
Ah.
so yeah, I ended up studying luxury marketing. Obviously, it was the main subject. But we had like consumer behavior, marketing research, global marketing. So everything what you normally like have as well when you study like marketing. So
But luxury and this was a master's in luxury marketing.
yeah, yeah. So we had like two subjects around like luxury goods, which, as you already mentioned, like big fashion companies in Paris. But obviously, it's like you have cars, you have perfumes, you have like the whole hospitality industry. We had students coming from Indonesia, and they really wanted to study that because of like the luxury industry in Indonesia, and it was all around hospitality. So you have those like people high income spending on like very luxury holidays,
Yeah, I live in Dubai.
alcohol.
So
Yeah, exactly. So you know that. And yeah, there was someone interested in like luxury alcohol as well. So we like met a lot of interesting people from industry. So university was really good at like inviting some like brand advocates as well. um, and then COVID happened, like halfway through studying, so that was not so good. I think it was March, April when the first lockdown happened.
March, April 2020. Yeah, and you were
2020,
halfway
yeah.
through. Your course was 2 years?
It was 1 year and like 4 months, so we had 4 months to like write our thesis. So you didn't had any subjects, so it was like 3 semesters, and the last one was just basically writing your thesis until like the end of October, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so you're studying luxury marketing and then you get into lockdown. Did you go to all remote classes? Did you finish the degree, drop out? What did you end up doing?
So we had some remote classes. Obviously, everyone was really confused. Like we had like amazing platform that allowed like professors to like record themselves, do like PowerPoint presentations, and we could watch it at home. We had some online classes as well, so I have to say they're really good at like reacting very fast and just adapting to like new reality. Obviously, we didn't know if we can come back after a month or not. So we had like some classes online, and then we just started writing the dissertation. So I stayed. A lot of students started going back home. It was very scary time. Like people didn't know what to do. Like a lot of overseas students as well. They just decided to come back home.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was very uncertain. Everyone remembers the times when you wanted to be with your family. On the same time, you were scared like boarding the plane, especially if you came from like very far away. So
Yeah.
I stayed. Luckily, some of my flatmates did as well. So we sort of like supported each other. And I finished writing my dissertation like in England.
Yes, love that for you. Congratulations. Look at that, sounds so cool. Like a master's in luxury marketing. That sounds
I know
so
it
cool.
sounds so fancy.
I love that for you. So then, unfortunately, that meant that you graduated in the middle of COVID. And so I'm really curious then, what were your job prospects like once you graduated?
So when I moved here, I started working in retail. So like literally a week before I started uni, I was looking for a job. I was like, I need to pay my rent as well. So I definitely need to have like part-time job. So I started working in like retail, and obviously there was lockdown, so shops were closed. But at the same time, there was like a government scheme, so they were like paying us when we were on like furlough, which was basically the process when you couldn't go to work because of COVID.
Mm,
And then we came back for some of, I think, like 3 months. Then it was lockdown again. It was like the whole like we're opening everything, we're closing, opening, closing. So when I was writing my dissertation, I was basically working part time, and the prospects of the jobs were really bad. People were losing jobs,
yes.
and we were thinking, okay, so how we, fresh out of uni, are going to actually find something, while people were losing their jobs.
Yeah.
So it was very frustrating. I think I was really lucky that I could still work, even though it was retail, it wasn't marketing. It was actually like luxury retail. So I could at least, experience something from what I learned, even though it was like a different, say, area because
Mm-hmm.
it was sales. But at least, I had a job. So I was actually really happy. And during lockdown, they used to do like online sales as well, meaning the shop was closed, but we were like shipping it. So that was allowed for, I think, during the third lockdown or something. So
Okay.
obviously that meant we could actually like work. Why not having customers? So I was applying for jobs. I think the dissertation results came like just before Christmas. So we had sort of like the time, because obviously you want to put on your CV that, that's the grade that you got. So I started applying for jobs, and it took me around 5 months to actually find a job.
So that's 5 months between graduating and getting a full time job. But in that 5 months, were you still working at your part time retail
Yeah,
job? Okay, so you had something.
yeah, and that job actually became full time because I had enough time. I managed to even have like two jobs, so I had like full time job and part time job in retail. So I was just like trying to save as much as possible on the same time applying. But that, the amount of applications like we used to send was crazy.
Yeah, because that was
I
what,
remember licked.
22
I mean,
years
just
old.
look, like I was, I think, 24.
Mm,
Can't remember. Um, but honestly, first of all, just finding a junior role was really difficult because of everything was like really senior. As I said, they were not really looking for interns at all. Like how company can afford it
yeah.
during the lockdown. There was a lot of scam on LinkedIn as well. I'm not sure if you're aware, but they were fake companies, easy apply function, and they were actually collecting data.
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah. So you were sending your CV thinking, oh yeah, that looks legit. They had like a simple website, like a startup, the amount of startups like we have nowadays is like so many. So you'll be like, okay,
No.
that's fine. They do something. Oh, that's the industry. Oh yeah, they do like social media marketing. Oh yeah, this is like a CRM. Fine. And then you're like, oh, the company after like a month doesn't exist. And you're like, oh yeah, that was a scam. Yeah.
Shit.
I had I had one interview, and it was like a startup. They didn't turn on their cameras, and I was like, I just don't have really good feeling about it. And then they were like, oh yeah, we cannot pay you because it's like COVID time, so you would have like 3 months of like full time,
Unpaid
so well,
work.
not even internship, yeah, but like a junior role. I was like, yeah, but how can I pay my bills?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Oh,
if
wow.
you live with your parents, maybe you can risk it. But I was like, I'm not in a position, like, not getting a pay at all, not getting paid.
Wow, that's a hard 5 months. I'm so glad you got out of that. So that 5 months ends and you go into what I guess would be your first full time role
Yeah.
post your luxury marketing degree. What was that role?
So it was digital marketing assistant, and the area was social media and email marketing. So it's the company I currently work for. So that was a junior role. So I started fully online and remotely. I didn't live in London, but the office was closed, so they were happy to have me like working remotely. So I did that for like 3 4 months, and then I moved to London because there were some rumors that they will be like reopening the offices. You might need to commute like twice per week, and then you know trains in England are very expensive, so it actually would cost more or less the same paying higher rent in London and
Oh, are
commuting.
trains? I didn't know trains were expensive. I thought trains in England were just normal. Like, I don't know, like taking the train in France.
Yeah, no, they are pretty expensive. So I moved to London, which again it was really exciting because I never lived here, and obviously it's a big city. Oxford is like very like it's a bit like Lille. You have a lot of students,
Mm,
so the vibe is really nice when you're a student, but then you want to experience something different.
yeah.
So I moved to London, and yeah, I was in that junior role.
Okay. So that's really cool. So basically, your current role is a promotion off of the first role you had, which makes me really interested in what was a day in the life of your first role there as a social media and the digital marketing assistant. And then how has that changed now as you've been promoted to being the marketing manager?
So before I was between social media and email marketing. So I was helping two different people, which it was actually really exciting because I was exposed to different marketing channels. So I learned like different automation tools when it comes to email marketing, and at the same time social media. So it was like copywriting, scheduling, looking for images, helping with different projects, and on the same time, just like splitting the time. So sometimes I would have one day fully like devoted to social media, and then another day could be like emails only, or maybe like half half. So it really depended on the week. So if we had a lot of newsletters going out that week, it would be more email marketing, and then next week I would do more of like social media basically.
Was your role very heavy on the designing of it and like the graphics of this stuff, or just writing the content or strategizing and planning the content?
The latter one. So we have we do design in house.
Mm,
That's correct name. Most probably design team would be what we're talking about, but we design our assets. I used Photoshop a lot because we still did some of very simple copies ourselves because that was just faster and more effective. So I would work a lot with InDesign, Photoshop. I think Premiere Pro, but very basic, cutting videos, nothing like what people nowadays do.
mm.
So very simple, but heavily Photoshop mainly, and then yeah, writing copies and optimizing like simple reports. So that was like the junior role, like in a nutshell.
Wow. That's really cool, and like obviously you did a great job because you were promoted into the marketing manager role for email marketing. So congratulations to you. Love that.
Thank you.
So no, because we're gonna kind of wrap up soon. We're always close to 30 minutes. But knowing what you know now and having this what four almost yeah about 3 4 years of work experience, is there anything that you would have done differently fresh out of uni?
That makes me feel very old. That
Oh God.
question. I mean, maybe if you ask me like in 10, 15 years, I'll be like, oh yeah, I wish I had done this. The thing is, I think nothing, mainly because of COVID. When we graduated, or like my friends, I'm thinking about master's degree. It was so tough. Like, I don't think what kind of advice would have helped us, because it was like COVID times. So it was just like, just don't give up, keep trying, keep applying, and if there is opportunity, just go for it. I would say don't underestimate like smaller companies, because obviously we everyone goes on LinkedIn. I mean, okay, I found my job on LinkedIn as well, but I never heard about the company. I was like, okay, it's like dentistry membership company, what they do. You always think about big brands. I want to go straight to like big companies. Like, take it easy. Like, you can start small, and it might be actually the best experience, because you won't be. I'm not saying stressed, but sometimes the pressure is really high in like bigger companies. So maybe you get experience, and then you'll be ready for like something like bigger, I'd say. So I'd say just apply, look for recruiters as well. They're really helpful. Um, so just don't look at big companies, because I think the number of people applying there is really high. Sometimes I never heard back from them, whereas the smaller companies might have very good reputation, and you might learn from very good people. I mean, that's my experience.
Love that. Clipping that advice right there. That's going to be the promo for the whole episode. No, that's really cool. And it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, to be honest, my first company, I've worked in two small companies. My first company was 7 people. My current company now is like, what are we, 18 people? Like, I've worked in small companies only. And the growth from age 22 to now 27 has been like monumental just because there's less of you. You've got lots to do. You get to learn so much and actually get the attention to grow. So amazing
Exactly.
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't underestimate your skills as well. Like, sometimes you might not even make a connection. Like, I most probably was noticed, like, or like my CV, because I did that internship in social media and dentistry. So they picked it up and said like, oh, like at least she was exposed to something. Might have been like, different in, well, not industry, but it's not something that we are doing, but at least there is like a connection. So you might be surprised that you like how much you might know.
Facts. Oh my God, you're going to be so surprised at how many things you actually know how to do. And that's hard skills and soft skills. Trust me. And if you don't know something, you can just learn it. Because how many things have you had to learn at this current role?
I Exactly. I mean, I study management, but like suddenly I had to manage people, which I hate this word, but in the end of the day, you're responsible for them. So, but you need to learn how to do it. So
Exactly. And
just go for it.
exactly, leadership skills aren't just, you don't just get them, you have to work at them, practice them. So, yeah, you can learn anything on the job. And I 100% agree that we leave the people with the note to not give up in the application process because you know what, 2024 has been such a hard year for careers. A lot of companies, especially the big ones, have been laying off like crazy, forcing return to office, causing people to leave. It's not a good sign, and a lot of people I know are looking for jobs. So your advice there is just like keep pushing, keep going. Solid.
Period.
Yes, mic drop. Oh my god.
And everything.
Bianca, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking about your really weird career from studying luxury marketing to, well, now being digital marketing manager for something in dentistry. That's so different, but so cool.
Thank you so much for having me.
Guys, I'm going to link up Bianca's LinkedIn in the show notes. Get in touch with her, ask her questions. If you're a uni student listening to this, drop her a message because this girl knows what she knows what she's had to go through to get through this job market right now. So give her a message. And for all of you guys listening, can I please ask you guys to follow the show on Spotify and Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating? Or if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, all those really nice things. I really appreciate you guys listening. Bianca, thanks for coming on the show. And you guys know new episodes are out every Wednesday. So until then, stay weird and stay ambitious, my friends.